traditional waterfall method where you do this part, you finish it, you sign it off, and you move on to the next part, and you have these stages that you go through. And there's certain types of projects which will benefit from that to some degree or completely. I'm a bit contrarian. I challenge that there are too many situations, that there are too many situations where you must only ever do the waterfall. I think that there's often benefit to doing waterfall up until your design, whether that's high-level design or a detailed design, for some styles of project, or some variation of that to get there, but fairly sort of traditional waterfall to get there, and then going into a more agile framework for the actual build, and then going back to sort of waterfall phased approach after the main build. So this sort of concept of development phase, I think there's benefits in using the agile frameworks and the Scrum approaches to use those time boxes to focus the attention, particularly where you don't have the detail, where you're refining the detail as you go along. You've got known unknowns that you've got to work with. And it also goes back to the things like ERP implementations. People say you can't use Agile with ERP. That's crap. I've been using Agile with ERP since the beginning of the year, 2001. So yeah, it's within those digital frameworks. I think the key elements are the concept of time boxing, the concept of having this prioritization system. So something like Moscow, having the concept of a backlog, because as you go through projects, you discover those unknown unknowns, and then what you have to do, you have to change the scope of the project, and you have to change the budget of the project, and you have to change the timeline of the project. So now every time you find something, you're changing the whole plan and the whole cost basis. Whereas if you bake in your agile approaches into that development phase, and you have the concept of all of your requirements being a prioritized backlog that you sprinkle across your sprints, then what you've got is the ability to say, well, okay, let's only commit ourselves for 80% of each sprint, and it's going to take 10 sprints. Now, if new requirements come along, you've got wriggle room. If some requirements take longer, you've got wriggle room. So if you do your 80% allocation in 60% of the time, you can pull stuff forward, and now you can get ahead of schedule. And these are just different ways of thinking about with the way you're doing projects, because basically the traditional way of thinking about it, it snookers you. You're setting yourself up for failure. So I think that almost every technology project would benefit from having at least part of the framework baked in as being an agile type approach.